Good evening, everyone. Can I see a few faces?
Recording in progress.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Gaurav.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, Shobhit. Okay, good. At least I'm sure I'm
evening,
not talking to my screen.
Definitely not.
Good evening, ma'am.
Okay. So I am Swati, and I am currently working as an assistant professor in the area of organization behavior and human resource management at IMT Ghaziabad. First of all, congratulations to all of you, and I hope that the next 1 hour comes out to be an insightful session for all of you. We will keep this session as much interactive as possible, so we'll have the last few minutes for your question answers, but in between also, if you have any question, you can either write it in the chat box. If time permits, I'll answer it there and then itself. Otherwise, I'll take it in the end of the session. So let's begin with the session. Any idea what's the topic for the session?
Human resource management, if I'm not wrong, ma'am.
It's human resource management. Okay. Any other inputs? Okay. Future of work.
Yeah, future of work.
Future of work.
Future of work. Okay, good. Okay, absolutely correct. The session that we are going to talk about today is on the future of work. Nothing to be scared about. The idea of having this as a part of your pre-foundation session is because the world of work is changing. You all would agree to. I'm pretty sure that we have moved away from the in-class sessions, sitting in front of the teacher and attending classrooms, to this mode wherein I'm sure some of you would be attending this session right now in this way. Yes or no? How many of you are attending the session in one of these ways? Raise a show of hand. Yeah. Or during the session, I mean, you might move into this gentleman's mode. Or how many of you have attended sessions earlier? I'm pretty sure most of you have been in the COVID batch during your undergraduation, or if you're coming from some kind of work experience background, you would have attended meetings in some similar modes. I mean, of course, this is the most extreme. Okay. Thank you for coming out and accepting the reality. So why is this kind of behavior? Why are we seeing these kind of behaviors amongst not just the youth, amongst across all generations? I mean, I've seen my father also dozing off during meetings. So why is this happening? People thought an online medium would be better because you are in your comfort zone. You are not in a strict and rigid environment. Humans want freedom. And when given a freedom, why did we go into this? Okay. Comfort makes us lethargic. The comfort creates such zones. Wonderful. Yeah, nobody sees us. No surveillance. Thanks, Shobhit, for bringing this. So again, surveillance is another tricky and double-edged sword that we talk about. Surveillance as a concept came somewhere in the 1940s, 1950s, or even before that, it came from the concept of a jail or a prison. Those who are not aware about it, if you have, I'm sure you would have not visited, but if you have seen images of jails or prisons which are very large size, which accommodate a large number of prisoners, you'll always find that in the center of the prison there is a very huge tower. The size of the tower would be somewhere that size of the Qutub Minar. So those huge-sized towers are there at the center of the prison. And on the top floor of the tower, there are a lot of windows that are there. And these windows are there for the prisoners to think that, some guard is sitting over there and observing us. So the prisons make this kind of a perception in the mind of the prisoners that someone is observing you. Even if there is no guard sitting inside, there is this kind of perception that, someone might be there and is looking at us. So from that, the fear of surveillance, that fear of someone is looking at us, so I should behave properly, came into being. And this was discussed a lot as a concept of panopticon. So this tower that I'm talking about is known as a panopticon. And Michael Foucault, a very famous researcher and a philosopher, had given this concept of panopticon in his book, Discipline and Punish. But do we want to live a life, where we are always being monitored and punished for some wrong actions? How many of you will be comfortable living in such kind of a life? And now those who are comfortable, raise your hand. And those who are not comfortable should not raise their hands. And if you have any other thoughts, you can write in the chat box. So please keep this session as much interactive as possible. Of course, there are no marks associated with your responses, but it will give me some confidence that, I'm talking to humans on the other side of the screen. Yeah. Would you like this kind of a surveillance on you 24/7? Why and why not? You may become paranoid, okay?
Ma'am, it will bring a lot of anxiety.
It will bring a lot of anxiety. Yes. What else? I mean, you all have given exams and there's always an invigilator, right? What will happen if there's an examination hall without invigilators?
Learning.
I'm cheating.
Cheating. Okay. Okay, some of you are indifferent. Okay, there might be chaos. Yeah, so we are going in the right direction. That freedom and chaos are again two opposite sides. Freedom might lead to chaos as well. So, okay, when the society will function like a bunch of robots, individuality will be lost with constant surveillance. Yeah. If you get time, I'm pretty sure you have a lot of time till you join the institute. There's a book titled Big Brother by George Orwell.
1914.
Read that. Yeah. The Big Brother scenario. Okay. Yeah. So, this, we are going in the right direction. You have all understood the crux of life of freedom versus making your own choices. And you've also understood the pros and cons of surveillance. But then, since we're talking about history, I'll take you to another historical tour. Any idea where is this image from? This is not taken, the AI has not created this image. It's from my own camera. So, anyone who knows the language, Germany, the German language and can read.
It's a German
concentration.
From German.
I'm Auschwitz.
Yeah, so what does this mean? That what's written on the top of this gate? Yeah, it's a concentration camp. Absolutely correct. It's from the Auschwitz concentration camp. So till that, your work makes fun. Work sets you free. Yeah, absolutely correct. Yes. So this comes from the Nazis' concentration camps made by the famous Nazi dictator Adolf Hitler. And imagine he writing down, work will set you free. In an environment where people are made to work like laborers with no self-respect, in fact, in the most unethical way, scientific experiments are done on you. In that kind of environment, what is the essence that if imagine yourself as a prisoner in this concentration camp, you're entering into the camp and reading this. What kind of thoughts would come to your mind? Put yourself in, that kind of mindset. I know in today's world, it's a little difficult to imagine were even Nazi camps real, but it was real. And just try to think about what would you have gone through. Outrageous fear of death, yes, slavery, trying to brainwash. Rishi, I agree. I mean, the statement is trying to brainwash. But, okay. Any other thoughts? Fight or flight. No sense of identity. Yes. Those concentration camps took away your sense of identity, end of life, pressure. Okay. But now let's come back to today. In today's world, how much does this phrase make significance in your life? Now, you're not there in the 1930s and 1940s. You are here in 2020. In the 2020s. So what kind of significance will this phrase bring in your life now? This can signify, okay, wonderful. Work will make you independent, monetary freedom, peaceful and focused mind. Again, there are two ways of looking at it. You can look at it from the perspective of corporate slavery, versus you can also look at it from the perspective that this is the world of gig economy of entrepreneurs who can define their own working lifestyles. These days, you would have seen that employees are defining their own working standards and employers are agreeing to it because the world of work has changed. By the way, when I had read this, I knew the history. When I had visited this concentration camp, I had already gone through the autobiography of Adolf Hitler. But this kind of hit me at a different level because we also come from a culture where we listen to this shloka again and again. That any idea which shloka I'm referring to from the Bhagavad Gita on karma? Yes? Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachin. Absolutely correct. That means keep on doing or focusing on your work. Don't worry about the what? Don't worry about the result.
Outcomes.
Don't worry about the outcome. Don't worry about the fruits or the rewards that you will get from that work. So if you merge both those concepts of, the Nazi philosophy and the Indian philosophy, there's something that is there amongst us as Indians that, we value work so much that we believe, given that, you would have seen your parents, your grandparents, there's always an attachment to work that we have, and that work should bring meaning to our lives. I would not deny that, our parents and grandparents have come from the age of working in only one company and giving, their whole life to that organization. But within that organization also, the work was bringing satisfaction to them. Either you're doing a 9-to-5 job or you're sitting and working from home. There is some satisfaction that work brings to you. But the problem that we are focusing right now in today's session, or the way we problematize this discussion, is that the world of work has changed. And in the last 5 or 6 years, or maximum in the last decade, there has been a dynamic change in the world of work. You can attribute it to the disruption that has been caused by technology, or you can attribute it to this new form of sharing economy that we are working in. You can also attribute it to the idea that a new set of customers have emerged, those customers who are at the bottom of the pyramid. And definitely all this has been catalyzed by the COVID-19 pandemic. So the reason why we'll delve deeper into the world of work and the future of work, you'll get to know. But let's move on further with the session and try to understand that how the future of work is evolving now. Yeah. So another quick set of examples, you can, in the chat box, write left or right. I just want to get a quick understanding. How many of you have done your undergraduation in that left mode of classroom versus the right mode? So left is when you're looking at the screen, left-hand side versus right-hand side. Okay. Both of it hybrid. Yeah, hybrid I'll count in the right. Wow. Okay. So we have a lot of audience who has studied in the left mode of classroom as well. And what's the difference do you expect? What was the difference in your learning between the two sides of the classroom? Those who have attended the left one, they can write about their learning outcomes in that way, or those who have attended classes in the right one, you can talk about the differences. Personal touch was loss of interaction, the knowledge. Okay. Now, if I create a word cloud of your responses, the most prominent word at the center would be interaction. Or, some of you are using words like face-to-face. Some of you are using personalized attention. Some of you are using the words like friendships. So the center word, when you make a word cloud, it counts the frequency and then it puts in front depending on the size and the bold, it puts the word that has the maximum number of frequency. And what I can understand is personalized touch, interaction, all these will appear in the center. And that brings us to the core idea that, no matter where the world of work or the future of work will take us, pretty sure that the human interaction should and will never be lost. And that's what is the essence of today's session also, that, no matter you are working in a bank or on a desk job, or, you're working as an entrepreneur, or you're working in a government job, or you're working as a business person, in all these spaces, human interaction, networking, peer-to-peer learning will never be lost. That's why till date, no matter, there are a lot of MOOC platforms like Upgrad, Udemy, etc., which are launching their own MBA programs. But people still prefer doing it from an on-campus because the peer-to-peer learning, the human interaction within the classroom as well as outside the classroom, that means when you are in hostels or when you are participating in clubs, that never gets lost when you are in a setting where you are in and around people. Yeah. So I'm getting a lot of messages in the chat box. I'll look at them in a while, but let's move further. And yeah, if you have any specific questions, then you can definitely raise your hand or write in the chat box. We'll spend the last 10 minutes to discuss those questions and your thoughts. Okay. Now tell me, how many of you have, of course you would not have, but maybe, in your childhood with your parents visited a bank. If not SBI, then maybe Punjab National Bank or any other bank. You visited, been there. Yeah. Okay, great. So a lot of you. Why was I thinking that I'm talking to a different generation right now? I thought I would not be able to relate with you all, but yeah, I can relate with you all very well. So, in 1990s, when the world of banks was being transformed, most of the bank employees got scared that, our jobs are lost. Today, the same threat is being people are feeling that threat because of ChatGPT, Google Bard, etc. But you have 1990s and you have today's time, and mind you, 20 years from now, new jobs will definitely get created. Now, in 1990s, when the world of banks was being automated, there were a lot of fear that, what will happen to the routine jobs that the bankers and the clerks sitting in the front desk will do. But today, if you see the whole world of finance with the emergence of fintech, with the emergence of neo-banking, with the emergence of everything for a bank on your hand through a mobile phone app, has changed the world of finance. Now let's talk about today when ChatGPT has come in. A lot of jobs are feeling threatened. The job of a software developer writing a code, because these days you can give a prompt to ChatGPT. It may not be a completely error-free code, but it will give you a brief outline of a code. Or say a few years back, content creation on digital media was a very lucrative job. And today, even that job has come to a threat. And in the same world, questions are also coming in regarding the ethics associated with the artificial intelligence that has been coming up. So you would have heard that very recently, Geoffrey Hinton, the father of AI, resigned, or I'd say better word is retired, because he felt that the world of AI is going to threaten humans. But I would like to bring it for in front of all of you to understand that humans as a species, they never lose. They're always there to find out better solutions. I mean, that's what makes our species more powerful than the other species on this earth. And while I totally understand the fears of Geoffrey Hinton, I am pretty sure that, as humans, we will be able to find out better and ethical ways of using artificial intelligence. So the reason why I'm bringing forward all these, back and forth, going back to the history, then talking about the present, is that the youth today is kind of becoming a little fearful that, what's going to happen in the next 10 or 20 years. While we believe that especially management education can make you ready for any kind of profession that you wish or you want to have, because a management education opens up doors for you to understand that world of work from multiple perspectives, and you can, take any kind of leap of faith in your profession and go forward. After 2 years, most likely you would be in a job working for a corporate. But don't take a management education from the perspective of the next 2 years only. Your management education is going to set you up for your lifetime. It will prepare that network for you. It will prepare that education background for you, so that you can, maybe after 2 years, you may be in a corporate job, but later on, you can do anything in life that you want to for the betterment of the humanity as well as for the betterment of business. We take a course over here at IMT Ghaziabad called Managing Hybrid Organizations, wherein we try to make our students think beyond businesses just being profit-centric. Business management has always been criticized to only focus on that single bottom line of profits, but we try to also focus on the idea that these days business and management is beyond profit. Rather, it also looks at other dimensions of the society. It can be community, it can be family, it can be other kinds of institutions which are focusing at the bottom of the pyramid. So you have to think about business, environment, and customers, not just from the perspective of you making profits, but also from the other dimensions other than profits as well. Karan, I can see that you've raised your hand. You have a question?
Yeah, ma'am. I just had a query regarding the topic you were just talking about, the sustainability criteria of the business, or something which is apart from just the profit and loss statement.
Yes.
While I do agree with that, ma'am, the company or a startup can only focus on stuffs like that when they have a profit margin at hand. Otherwise, I don't think there are a lot of companies which would call them as a business per se.
Mhm.
They would call themselves as an NGO or a charity business.
So,
Ma'am, I would just like to add in here, I don't think it's necessarily about profit. It's just about scaling up. So if you look at a lot of these new age startups, none of them are really profitable. But still people choose to invest in them so that they can, just pull out whenever the company crosses a certain, I don't know, valuation number. So not
That's what I
necessarily
was trying
about
to
profit.
say. That's what I was trying to say.
yeah. So, Karan, when you are bringing in this thought and you're expressing your disagreement, I would totally agree to that from the perspective that, you have to first tell the world that you exist because you can make money. But the point over here that I was trying to make is that it is not just about making money. It is about making other contributions as well. You know why you've seen Shark Tank, and there are and these are the best examples of those who know how to make profits, right?
Yes.
Or those who know how to increase their valuation. But if you see on Shark Tank itself, they try to diversify their portfolio and also put money into businesses that are bringing in some kind of benefit to the society as well. So now you bring that macro level idea of a shark putting money into different businesses and bring it down to a single organization. And for that organization also, the point I'm trying to make is that my organizations have multiple objectives. Profit should not be the sole objective. That's the point that we are trying to discuss over here. You have to have other objectives and other contributions as well, so that you can, when you are progressing further, you are not just loosely hanging on one objective. We talk about social entrepreneurs these days. Who is a social entrepreneur? A social entrepreneur is someone, he or she has to make profit. He or she has to show that, I can sustain on my own. But by solving some problem that the society is facing. So I'm talking about those multifold objectives organizations and businesses have started having, rather than having that sole, Arjun ki aankh only on that profit.
Okay. Yes, I agree. Definitely.
And that's what we through different courses over here, we try to bring it into perspective that how as future managers, you can solve those grand challenges. You would have gone through, the sustainable development goals that the United Nations has. As a manager in the early years, maybe you would not be directly contributing to those SDGs. But as humans, we all aspire that we contribute something or give back to the society. So as a manager, how can I have that multi-dimensional view of problems so that I'm not just contributing to the organization's profit, but its other goals as well. And this requires a lot of critical thinking. Critical thinking over here means that you are looking at that same problem, not just from one single lens, but from multiple lenses. And with that, in the classroom, we create debates among students. And that's one of the pedagogical tools that most of the faculty members at IMT Ghaziabad use, that we create a kind of a simulation in the classroom where, the students are debating with each other with facts to defend, which aspect of the objective should get more priority over the others. Okay, good question. What could be the other targets except for profit and contribution to the society? So, Sajak, other profits, one of the objectives could also be your institution building. Contribution of the society, it can have multiple, levels of contribution. One can be towards environment, one can be towards governance, one can be towards different sectors, those micro communities within the society. You have persons with disability, you have people from the economically weaker class. So all those are broadly, everything is a part of the society, but the society can be broken down to all these multiple levels. And Rituraj is asking that CSR. Rituraj, CSR is always an outcome of business profit. A company releases CSR funds only जब मुझे profit होगा तभी मैं CSR करूंगी या करूंगा. So CSR is an outcome of business profit. These days, it is used in a way that you're trying to show that you are being socially receptive, but the fundamentals of CSR remain that the organization is earning profit. So it kind of integrates back to what one of you had just raised the question about. Is profit necessary or not? So yes, for CSR, profit is necessary. Yeah, I can see one more hand raised. Ankit.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I just wanted to add, in today's terms, CSR has been broadened in its sense. Like, it is not just outcome; it has been incorporated into the organization's daily operations. Like, whether it's the training programs they are providing, or in the daily operations that the organization is operating through. I think CSR is incorporated into that in today's world. So,
Yeah, Ankit. So organizations are integrating CSR to the daily work, and there's a lot of research that suggests that an employee's commitment to the organization increases when they know that the work that they are doing is contributing to some kind of social responsibility. So that way, I totally agree that organizations are integrating the employees' work, daily work, also to CSR. But I was actually relating to Rituraj's question on something else. I was trying to say that when do organizations do CSR? An organization will only, especially in India, because of the Companies Act 2013 and the mandate issued by that, in India, companies do CSR activity once they have earned certain level of profit. So that's the discussion that I was having with Rituraj. And I see another, something came up as PR. Did I lose, or the comment got deleted? Was there a comment around PR as well, or no? Yeah, can we say that this is PR? Okay. Rituraj, you are touching on a very sensitive thing by bringing public relations, or in archaic language, you call PR as a propaganda. I would be happy to discuss about using CSR and a lot of other communications that are happening these days as forms of PR, but we can discuss it offline. And if you really want to learn more about, what is PR, what is propaganda setting, then there's a 4-hour documentary on YouTube, Century of the Self. Please watch that to understand what is the history and how the inception of PR happened. But in a single line, yes, you can say for some companies it is PR. Yes. Okay. Let's come back to our discussion now. Okay. It isn't PR because firms are told to take CSR. Yeah, Bhavya, absolutely correct. In India, as per the Companies Act, you have to, if you are a listed company, you have to legally participate in CSR. But I think what the question was that when companies are promoting their CSR activities, has it got anything to do with PR? And I was trying to answer that part. Okay. Now, let's come to what will your future workplace be like? Any thoughts or any ideas on that? Have you ever imagined that, what would the workplace that you would be in after 2 years be like? A cooperative one, a hybrid, okay, 9 to 5. Anything beyond hybrid? I understand most of you are looking for a hybrid kind of a working style, 4-day work week. without the sign of, okay. Sahil, you want a toxic or a non-toxic kind of a workplace? A place where you will be, okay, great. So I hope all your imaginations come true. But on the left-hand side, there were offices like this also. And then, we have a workplace. I think most of you are talking about hybrid, which one of the images on the right-hand side shows. See, you can create we are living in a kind of a world where you can create your own workplace type. In the beginning, you may not have that much of power, but the future of work is like wherein, you can have a workplace which is not just hybrid, but technology friendly, but also from the perspective of having peers around without their physical presence. We recently did a research project wherein we are trying to understand how you guys, you all would be becoming interns in the next 1 year after the first year. And during COVID-19, we found that, interns were undergoing, because some of them I was also mentoring, we found that, they were undergoing a lot of anxiety issues. And they were not able to cope up with the stress of work, despite the fact that the work stress had reduced for interns during COVID-19, because the companies also didn't want to pressurize the interns in their physical absence. So when we tried to, do this research, we found that the objective was that, given a remote environment, and a remote environment, you all are also agreeing to it, most of you want to have a hybrid workplace. How do we ensure the work engagement of interns and in future employees in this remote environment? And we found that, yes, if you see on the right-hand side, there are two images. The image at the bottom, where this girl is working alone, mostly in her drawing room. This is what we all want. But the image at the top, on the right-hand side, the second image that you see, this is equally important. We found a very, very strong support of peer network, of social support, not just from family, but also from the faculty members who were mentoring the participants in their internship, a very, very critical factor. And we continue doing this analysis further to understand how much important is the faculty support in this kind of remote internship environment. And our analysis, we had more than 350 participants, and we continued this research for 2 years. That means so that we could actually negate the effect of only COVID creating the anxiety. So we found that even if we removed all the other variables, if we remove faculty support as a variable, as an antecedent to the work engagement, the whole relationship or the whole model was a flop show. So from that, we found that how critical, how important, even in remote settings, is having a social support around you. Even if it is in an asynchronous or a synchronous manner, meaning that you are not meeting that faculty day to day in a physical manner. Maybe you're having online interactions through Zoom calls or MS Team calls, or you're having, WhatsApp chats with the faculty, or you're having, some chat on the forum. But just having, that figure available whom you can reach out at any point of time was a critical antecedent that we found, which made the remote interns engaged. And whatever, you guys just mentioned that you all would love to have a hybrid work, but mark my words, wherever you are, after 2 years, and if you are in a hybrid environment, you would prefer that, once a week or twice a week, you go and meet your office colleagues, burst out everything in front of them, talk to them, spend some time with them, and that's going to rejuvenate your engagement towards the work. We did this study for only remote interns, but I hope we'll be able to extrapolate that to the employees or, regular workers as well in future. Okay. So, yeah. Going forward, let's talk a bit about the future of work, what kind of possible jobs are there. And this is not just restricting you to two kinds of job, but the idea is that I wanted you to get an exposure to what possibilities are available for you all. There's a boom of social media that has happened. And as future managers, you have to be very, very sensitive towards what your organization is doing and what about the organization is going on social media. In an extreme form, you can call it PR management, like one of you had called it out in the chat. But the point over here that we have to understand is that in the future of work, your customers are, sitting and observing or having that surveillance over you. The surveillance is not just by institutions or by legal authorities these days. The biggest surveillance these days is your customer or even your potential customer and your current customers. So as managers, it becomes your responsibility that the communication that you're doing is on point and it does not deviate at any place or it does not hurt the sentiment of any community. So even, you would have realized that Twitter is becoming a very popular, it was. Right now, I am not sure if I can use this, but at certain point of time, you would have easily called out something bad happening on Twitter. And in such scenarios, as organizations, as you as managers and representatives of organizations, you have to be very, very sensitive towards what is being posted about your organizations on different social media platforms. Rather, before, just 2 years down the line, when you would be applying for jobs, do visit the review of the company that you are joining on this website called Glassdoor, to get anonymous reviews about what do the current employees about the organization feel about their work and their company. I think there are 2 or 3 messages in the chat box. Just I'll answer them in a minute after going through this slide. So on the right hand side, I was trying to bring out the technological disruption that has happened, geospatial technologies or the intervention of drones. Recently, there has come up a new policy around drones, and it is completely changing the world of e-commerce. It's changing the world of how agriculture business is done. And again, as managers, not just the communication part or the social media part that you have to manage, you also have to be sensitive towards how your job and how your company's goals and objectives are being affected because of the disruption in technology. So the world of work, at least there are 2 pillars that you have to take care of as future managers. One is the communication side and the other one is your technology. So what's the question that we have? Does it hold true for only new employees or interns also? For experienced ones? So yeah, Chirag, as of now, the work that we've done is on interns only. But I'm pretty sure parallelly other researchers will be doing it for employees, and we also plan to extend that research work. So, but I do not have empirical evidence to answer your question. Theoretically, I would say that yes, if it is coming out as a valid result for your interns, then definitely will be valid for your experienced workers also. But I do not have the empirical evidence on that as of now. Okay. Yeah. So going forward, I think you all are familiar with the kind of career opportunities that you will be getting, the kind of work styles work environment that you'll be getting. But one concept that I would like to throw upon you these days, and with what we started also, our parents were working or our grandparents and parents, that generation, were working in a kind of environment where you enter the company at the age of 22, 23, and then you retire from that company at the age of 60. But this is a world of boundaryless careers. That means you're not just bounded by the boundaries of that organization, but you're also not defined by the boundaries of the profession itself. You might start as a marketing manager in another 2 years, but you can take this guarantee that your career will not be limited to the domain of marketing, because business and management is not just about, say, only marketing or only HR or only finance. Gradually, when you'll be moving further, becoming a product manager or becoming a program manager, you would be getting the look and feel of all kinds of professions. And that's what boundaryless career is about. That forget about those days, where you start in ICICI Bank as a junior executive, and then, move on in the domain of finance and accounting and banking, and become and retire as a CEO of the company. Those days are gone. You are neither bounded by the by the boundaries of the organization, nor are you bounded by the boundaries of the profession itself. There are high chances that you would be starting in a corporate and ending up in an academic job, or you'll be starting in a corporate and maybe ending up in some kind of creative job, say that of maybe a stand-up comedian as well. So the point over here that you have to understand is that don't let the MBA degree make you feel bounded by any kind of career options that are there in front of you. The MBA degree will be your foundation to begin your career, and later on, just let it bloom. Don't let it make any kind of stringent boundaries around, I can only do this or I can only do that. If you have those kind of limited or fixed mindset, then growing in your life and in your career might be a difficult thing. There is a very famous book by Herminia Ibarra, who's a famous psychologist and works on famous management researcher who works on identity. And she covers stories of 8 very successful people. One of them, who started as a management professional, ended up becoming a monk. One of whom who started as a engineer and ended up as a musician. So the idea over here is, let your career flourish and take the direction that gives you the most satisfaction and the most meaning in life that you are aspiring for. Okay, so I'll give you the link of the book in some time, Sahil. Towards the end of the session, I'll be happy to share the link of the book. So we are on the verge of concluding only. So let's just look at a few more ideas that I would like to throw on you, and let me know which of these hold true today. More or less we have discussed, but these are those age-old ideas about jobs that our societies. Yeah, your alumni, Pratik, rightly pointed out, there is alumni from IIM Ahmedabad. Chetan Bhagat turned into an author. There is Harsha Bogle again from IIM Ahmedabad, who turned into he's right now a commentator. Then you have from XLRI another stand-up comedian. So I'm not all these are a sports commentator, absolutely correct. So there are no boundaries for your career. Now let's come back, and that's the point over here, that MBA gives you that base or that foundation to flourish your career in any stream you want. So one of the things that an MBA degree also teaches you is to become a risk taker. And that's why most of the entrepreneurs have, they prefer undergoing an MBA and then, becoming an entrepreneur. So because, there is something to fall back upon, there is, you also have an ability to take more risk. Once you are in this environment, you will get that idea of how can you take risk, despite taking risk, flourish further. So yeah, let's come back because I have very limited time with you all. So which of the following hold true today, or which of the following do not hold true today, and why? Or these are all, those age-old ideas that our society used to have about jobs or about careers. Yeah, if you can stop chatting amongst yourself and give me an answer. I think aspiring for a government job is still valid, okay? Shivangi, I would disagree to that. And that's what, the stereotype that we are carrying these days, that, manufacturing and sales jobs are suitable for males only. And you would have heard the story of Sudha Murthy, how she entered into the manufacturing setup under the reign of Jamshedji Tata. So basically, the point over here is that let's not also restrict ourselves because of the social identity that we are carrying or because of the notions of the society. Yes, the society still thinks that, a manufacturing and sales job is suitable for males, but that's just what the society has created a stereotype. It's not at all true that these kind of jobs are suitable only for males. This is also an era of dual career couples. Dual career couples are those couples in which both of them are having successful careers. Both of them are understanding, and one is pushing the other to take forward a successful career. And definitely, the last one, we have also talked about this assumption that we are thinking that companies are only bothered about profit, whereas these days companies have started thinking beyond profit. There are other things as well. So machines will replace humans completely. Bhumi, I don't think that's also true. If that would have been true, it was in the 1900s when the first papers came out talking about machines replacing humans, and we have moved to a different century now, and till now I don't think that all jobs have been taken away by machines. Yeah, definitely, Joy. Thank you for bringing that point. Now let's go on to the kind of attitudes and the kind of thinking capabilities that you have to develop to sustain as a manager in this future of, or in the world of work. So one thing that you have to be you have to familiarize yourself is that with reference to technology, you have to be up to date. You have to understand that technology is a double-edged sword. So it brings some benefits, but parallelly, there may be some challenges thrown by technology on you as well. So whichever profession, whichever career, whichever company you are in, always be on your toes what kind of technology disruption that can happen for that kind of organization or that industry. Secondly, like I mentioned, think beyond making profits only. Think about the other goals, other possible goals, and you have a ready-made list on the sustainable development goals that's available. So start thinking about problems not just from the perspective of making money, but also start thinking about how do you solve all those grand challenges that are there. And then an inclusive workforce. In India, definitely, diversity and inclusion is still a signal given by legal mandates, like you have your Rights for Persons with Disability Act 2016, which makes it a legal mandate for organization to have 4 to 5% persons with disability in their organizations. But let's think beyond, making workplaces inclusive. beyond the idea that it has a legal mandate, and rather think from the perspective of what kind of advantage an diverse and inclusive workforce can bring for you. One of the best examples of how diversity has kind of been attributed to one of the major cause of a company's success is that of Apple. Apple keeps on saying this thing that one of the main reasons why they have been successful is because they could think about their product from the mind of the customer. And how could they think about it from the mind of the customer? By making their own employees diverse. So if you have that diverse team on your table with, one community playing the role of a devil's advocate and kind of questioning the other employees' ideas, that brings in more creativity, that brings in better ideas, and that makes a company like Apple possible. Another thing that you should be aware of, what are the emerging global trends, what are the disruptions that are happening in your industry, in your organization. Right now, you may have, time at your home. I think some of you would be still working, some of you would have quitted their jobs, or some of you are freshers. Why not? There's a good newsletter published by the Ken. So, just to stay up to date in regarding what's happening in different industries, you can subscribe to their newsletter and start following. There's one more morning context. I in my classroom also, I ask my students to at least follow these 2-3 newsletters, which are very, very business centric, and they give you a fair idea that, what's happening in and around the business world, which you would be a part of in future. Another thing that we keep on making people, our students, sensitive about is that you will be the decision makers. So you also have to accept your biases that can push your decision in wrong directions. So in one of our courses on organization behavior, we actually discuss about what, and in the classroom we get live examples about what kind of biases you have as you can have as future managers. We talk about different forms of biases. One of the biases we've just discussed about stereotyping, wherein we talked about why the society still thinks that the job of in a manufacturing industry or sales is still suitable for males. This is clearly a stereotyping bias wherein you are just attributing one community's or one person's success or failure to the social identity group over here, in quotes, females, that they belong to. And last but never the least, Akshita, I'll answer this question as well in the chat. After the session is over, I'm supposed to give you the name of the book as well as the newsletter. So the last but not the least is, as employees, as managers, you also have to think about the well-being of your employees. Even if you go into the hybrid work, or if you are in a 9-to-5 kind of a job, major chunk of your life after this age, when you start working, majority of that chunk is going to go into your professional life. You will have a personal life, but imagine, 9 hours a day, if you're spending at work, be it from home or from office, then calculate it for the next 40 years, how many hours are you spending at work? And it is, this is also a time when you will be growing old. And as you age, you are also prone to certain kind of diseases. You are also prone to certain kind of lifestyle changes which will cause certain diseases. So as future managers, you also have to think of having a conducive work environment wherein the well-being of the employee is not sacrificed. So I think with this, I would also like to conclude the session, because we are already at 5:58. But now I would like to throw some attention to the questions that are there in the chat box. And you are also free till 6 o'clock. Of course, you have to be here. After that, your time is your time. So if you want, you can leave the session. Those who want to stay back and have an interaction regarding the questions, I'll be happy to do that. So just give me a minute. I'll open my chat box. Yeah, I'll share the link of the book. Just give me a minute. There's another question. Nishant, why don't you write this question for everyone and not send it just to me? Because I'll be happy that others also, if others are also curious about this thing. So the question is, why do a lot of professors who teach at management colleges start their careers in a corporate world, but eventually transition to pursuing a PhD and becoming professors in academia? Do they get tired of the corporate or they love academics? Nishant, actually, this is a very, driven by more of a personal, idea about their career. But these days, you will find people from academia also going to corporate. But I would still like to answer the first part of your question. Why do people move from corporate to academia? One of the main reasons is that, academia sustains on the learnings of the corporate as well. So, some people who have kind of gained a perspective on the corporate and the industry, and they want to give the learnings back to the management schools, they do that. In fact, we have professors who are currently, who do this dual role. They are like visiting faculty who are working somewhere, but they only come and teach the students. This is a win-win situation for both parties. You have people bringing in their direct work experience, but on the other side, Nishant, just to answer your question, there are a lot of faculty members who start their career from scratch from academia only. So that's why I'm saying this is more like a personal career aspiration and less to do with, less to do with a general trend. Now let me answer the other two questions about the book and the newsletter. I'm just looking for the book's link, and I'll share it with you in a minute. So this book will have, 8 different stories about 8 different characters who have changed their careers. Yeah. So, 1 minute. This is the link to the book. I'm sending an Amazon link, but I do not have any kind of partnering with Amazon. So I'm not promoting any books to be purchased from Amazon. Just a word of caution over here. And you would ask me another question about the newsletter. So this is the first newsletter, and this is the second newsletter. One of you is asking how hectic is an MBA life. Shivangi, in simple words, it's very hectic. That's how I'd like to answer your question. Any residential MBA, it will be hectic. So be ready. And the more hectic it is, the more full of enjoyment and fun it's going to be. And again, mark my words, and this session is also being recorded. These 2 years are going to be the most memorable years of your life. So you're going to create the best memories despite, you're going to navigate through that hectic lifestyle and still have fun. And you can, just listen to this recording again after 5 or 6 years, and I'm totally, I know that you will agree to what I have said, because I have also come through this kind of a lifestyle only. That's why they said when we entered engineering, any kind of college life is super fun, especially a life which is on campus. Okay, any other questions? Any questions with reference to the, okay, there's another question. Can you brief us about what HR consultants do? Lalit, so when we talk about the life of a consultant, basically companies hire consultant to bring some kind of change initiative inside the organization. So, there is another field of a course that you would be doing in your MBA, which is called Organization Development and Change. Or sometimes, in different institutes, it comes with a different name, but either Organization Development and Change or Organization Design and Change, wherein we focus that, as consultants, how do you understand the problem of the organization and conceptualize a change design so that, today the organization is at level 1 and tomorrow you have to take it to level 10. How will you plan those journey across those levels? That's what a consultant would be doing. The level 1 you would get to know after interviewing the company, the CEO, the top management, and the level 10 is there in the heads of the CEOs. You just have to make, as a consultant, you have to make that journey possible from level 1 to level 10. So I hope that answers your question, Lalit. As you mentioned, job opportunities are moving towards hybrid structure, but from startup, where initial hires can make or break a company. So, Amijit, hiring or recruiting the best candidate for a particular job has always been a challenge for companies. It has got nothing to do with hybrid work. Finding the right person for that right job is always a struggle for a manager. It has got nothing to do with hybrid work. And, as we, of course, hybrid work will throw its own challenges, but then the entrepreneur or the company, the CEO would know ways of resolving it. One of the ways is surveillance, but I find it a little not so ethical way, but, you have other ideas also through which you can ensure that you hire the best candidate and make him or her work. Which, according to you, what should remain in a person when ChatGPT will make people lose their job? Resilience. Siddhant. So resilience is a construct, you would have heard, but we use it as a construct in positive psychology. Resilience is the ability to bounce back after a failure. And that's one of the most important skill or quality that would be required at any point in your life. And like I was saying, an MBA prepares you for taking all those risks, and the MBA makes you more resilient in life also. Okay. What are the other questions? How should HR retain employees potentially leaving? Joy, I can have a separate session with you on this topic because that's also one of my interest areas. But I think right now we do not have much time to discuss. Vihan, talk to the admissions team about this question. Although it is indeed a personal preference for a person to decide, it was just an observation on LinkedIn. Almost everyone who's an associate professor or faculty, they had an IIM degree and a 2 to 3 year. Okay. Thanks for the observation, Nisha. I'm also a part of a sample of your observation. It's very easy, Gagandeep. It's very easy. You should just be ready to take that risk. And you should have that mindset that, you take a decision, then don't look back. Chirag, retaining is a challenge not just for HR, it is employee retention more than HR. It is a key responsibility area of your manager, the line manager, who is responsible for the team. So, although we keep associating hiring and retention as core responsibilities of HR, it is a core responsibility of the line manager as well. So you all would be becoming functional managers or HR managers. Hiring and retention will be a sword hanging on both the roles, on the HR role also, as well as on the manager's head also. Now, your question is that how do you deal with this problem of employee retention? That's what I have said, that I can take another 90-minute session on employee retention. But because this question has popped up again, I would like to quickly answer that one thing that you have to understand is these days, especially your generation is looking, definitely, I mean, you're looking for a good pay package. But after a certain point of time, having meaning in your work becomes more important than the package. When you are in my class, especially, I'll be talking about different theories of motivation, and we'll be actually layer by layer peeling off that the pay scale is just a hygiene factor. वो एक टाइम तक मोटिवेट करता है, उसके बाद वो मोटिवेट नहीं करता. उसके बाद you have to have meaning in your work, and if your organization is able to give that meaning to your work, then retention may not be a problem. And see, these days, especially big companies, they're not really bothered. They're not much bothered about retention because they know that, employees come and go. You would have, if great resignation can happen, great layoff can also happen. So both the parties have now similar or equal power. Employees had power, so great resignation ka trend aaya. These days, the companies are trying to come back and show their power, to great layoff ka time aaya. So ये सब चलता रहेगा. And big companies, they don't really bother about employee leaving because, at that point of time, they've already developed their mindset that, you are an individual, and if I'm not able to satisfy your career goals, it's better you go rather than you are staying with me and working half-heartedly. So it's about that perception from the top management side, and usually big companies these days are less bothered about retaining. Of course, if you are at a very, very critical position, then retention becomes another issue, and then the top management will do anything to retain you. But if you are not bringing anything unique to the table, then there is no resource is irreplaceable. So they can bring in someone else instead of you and get the work done. Skills we should work on before. Sagar, brush up your, if you are from the finance background, brush up your accounting, also brush up at least some technical skills related to basic mathematics, basic aptitude, as well as, doing Excel, making PPTs. So on the technical side, you can brush up all these things because once you enter, you will be bombarded with so many projects. So if all those basic things are clear, you will be able to finish off projects faster. And the second thing is that stay up to date with what's happening in the business world. That will make your life easier. You can go back and brush up what you have prepared for CAT, Karan. The quantitative techniques, yeah. Okay, so should I assume? I think I have not missed out any questions on earlier that were asked. If I have, then I'll stay for another 2 minutes. You can copy paste those questions. Otherwise, we'll close the session at 6:15. Yeah, thank you. I'm also looking forward to interacting with you all in your, in your physical presence, because right now I know I am seeing a lot of names on the screen, but, if I meet you outside, I will not be able to recognize you. So I would be more than happy to know you all in person. Divij, I'm sending the names again, although I had sent it earlier, but again, sending it for your reference. Yeah, if you are from a non-tech and non-finance background, you can at least go through some basic courses on Coursera, etc., on basic accounting at least, and on micro and macro economics. That will help you in giving a better idea about the nitty-gritties of accounting and economics. So I think that answers your question. Any other questions? Okay, so all the best to all of you. I'm looking forward to meeting you all on campus and make the best out of the next 2 years. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I'll close the session now. And I shared my email ID. If you have any queries, you can still reach out to me, either on the email or on LinkedIn, whichever is comfortable for you. Thank you.